Got it? You want a fully fleshed out, high-impact, emotionally charged first-person narrative in the voice and pacing of George Blackman, adhering exactly to your format and premise. I'll deliver it so it's ready for YouTube narration, gripping from the very first second and ending with a deeply fulfilling resolution. Here's your story. The Forgotten Cartographer. #hook the shattering moment. The auditorium was silent, too silent, except for the rustle of papers and the low, deliberate clearing of a throat. Then came the words that burned themselves into my memory, spoken from the stage with the icy precision of a verdict. Your theory is not just flawed, it is a dangerous distraction to serious science. I stood there frozen, my presentation slides still glowing behind me, my life's work projected in sterile light for a room full of colleagues who now refused to meet my eyes. A ripple of polite laughter traveled through the crowd, like the sound of a door locking from the inside. In that moment, I wasn't a cartographer, I wasn't even a scientist, I was branded a fraud, and something inside me broke. But another part, quiet, stubborn, began to burn. #painful departure and relentless pursuit *. I walked out of that building without saying a word. I didn't go back to my office. I didn't collect my things. I left everything: maps, notes, decades of careful research, like shedding a skin I'd been told was worthless. But I didn't stop thinking, because my theory wasn't about drawing maps on paper, it was about how we create maps in our minds. Cognitive topography, the hidden geometry of thought and memory. They thought it was pseudoscience. I thought it was a key to the human experience. So I started again, alone, in a cramped apartment with a second-hand computer, sketching neural pathways instead of coastlines, plotting the invisible routes the brain takes to find its way. I read until dawn, tested strange prototypes made from salvaged electronics, chased every scrap of data that could prove the human mind could navigate without sight *. The ridicule followed me online, in journals, even whispered in conference corridors when I dared to attend, but the more they mocked, the deeper I dug. *arduous ascension and profound triumph *. It took years of failed experiments, of living on grant rejections and instant noodles, but one night I watched something miraculous happen. A young woman named Clara, blind since birth, put on a headset I had built from nothing but my stubbornness and spare parts. My software translated spatial data into rhythmic pulses and tonal cues, forming a mental map inside her mind. For the first time, she walked across a room without a cane, without guidance, just her own brain building its own map in real time. She laughed, a bright, astonished laugh, and said, "I can feel where the door is." News spread. The same journals that had dismissed me now wanted interviews, universities asked for lectures, navigation companies sought partnership. My work became a lifeline for thousands of visually impaired people worldwide. And with every success story, I felt the weight of that long-ago humiliation loosen its grip. #cathartic return and poetic justice *. Years later, I was invited back to the same auditorium. This time I stood on that stage not with a defense but with results, videos, testimonials, living proof. In the front row sat the man who had called my theory a dangerous distraction. His arms were folded, but his eyes were different. When I finished, the applause was thunderous, people stood, and he, hesitant at first, rose to his feet. Afterwards he approached me. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "Your maps, they've changed lives." I shook his hand, not out of victory but out of peace, because the truth was simple: they hadn't just changed lives, they had changed mine *. And in that moment, I realized the greatest map I had ever drawn wasn't of land or sea, it was the one that led me back to myself. Would you like me to also create a YouTube-optimized narration script **, with pacing cues, emotional emphasis points and deliberate pauses, so it hooks retention from second one? That way this story will perform even better for your audience.